This is a continuation of the video on vertical asymptotes. I got to how you found exactly where the vertical asymptote occurs at, but I haven't talked about the behavior yet here. So that's what this video is going to focus on, is what's the behavior of the curve as it approaches the asymptote, the vertical asymptote. So we're talking about behavior of a rational graph near a vertical asymptote. Okay, there's two behaviors, two things that could happen here. Okay, one behavior is the graph will go up to infinity for the curve. And the other thing, or it could go down to negative infinity. The thing here is, on a vertical line, if we have a vertical asymptote straight up and down, we got to check both sides of the line. What's going to happen on the right side? Is it going to go up, or is it going to curve down? What's happening on the left side? Is it going to go up, or is it going to curve down? Okay, so we must check both sides of the asymptote. I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to check both sides. We're just going to jump in here and do an example. This is the same one that we did. Well, we talked about this one in the last video. We'll do f of x equals 1 over x plus 2. Okay? Now we know here that negative 2 makes this an undefined number. So at negative 2 is where my vertical asymptote is going to occur. So we'll say that here first. We know there's a vertical asymptote at x equals negative 2. Okay, so what we're going to do here is check numbers that get very, very close to negative 2 and see what happens to our function when we plug those in. Okay, so let's start. If we're going to approach negative 2 from the left side, we'll make a table of values here. So we're looking at numbers that are really, really close to negative 2. Let me draw a graph here to kind of show you exactly what we're doing here. Okay, I know that we have a vertical asymptote at negative 2. So I'm going to kind of draw that in here. Normally this line wouldn't be there. I'm just putting this in there as a reference point, but that's our vertical asymptote. So I want to check, what happens as numbers get really, really close to negative 2 from the left side. Okay, so like we're going to be looking at numbers like negative 2.1, negative 2.01, negative 2.001, and let's even try negative 2.0001. So we're getting really, really close to negative 2 from the left side. Okay, and then we'll do that again from the right side. Let's talk about what happens here. If I plug in negative 2.1, okay, this is going to be 1 over 0.1. 1 over 0.1, 1 over negative 0.1. Okay, so that's 1 over negative 0.1. That's actually negative 10. Okay, if I put negative 0.01 in there, that's going to be 1 over negative 0.01. Okay, that's 100. If you did that on your calculator, if you don't believe me that that's 100, you can do it on your calculator. You'll get negative 100. So you can kind of see the trend here. If I plug in negative 0.001 and up here, I get 1 over negative 0.001, which that's a negative 1,000. So you can see what's happening here. Okay, the next one, you can just tell what it's going to be. It'll be negative 10,000. Okay, and this pattern is going to continue on and on. If I keep doing my x's like that, just the next one will be negative 0.00001. That'd be negative 100,000 here. So it'll just keep going. So we're actually going down there to negative infinity. Is what's going on. We're going to negative infinity. All these are negative numbers. We keep going down, down, down. Okay, so I know that on the left side of this graph, okay, because I'm picking numbers to the left of my asymptote here, this line is going to curve and go down to negative infinity and get closer and closer and closer, but it will never actually cross. You can do that same thing on the right side. Okay, so on the right side, I'm going to erase a little bit here to give myself some room. On the right side, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to make a table of values here. X, f of x. But I'm going to look at values that are really close to negative 2, but from the right side. So there I'm going to be looking at like negative 1.9 is really close to negative 2. Let's get closer. Negative 1.99. Let's do negative 1.999. We'll do one more. Negative 1.9999. So if I plug negative 1.9 in here, okay, I get 1 over 0.1. Positive 0.1. That's positive 10. Okay, if you do that. So here I'd get, for this one, I would get 1 over 0.01, which is 100. The same thing's going to happen, except for I have positive numbers. So if I do 1 over 0.001, that's 1,000. So this next one would be 10,000. If I went further, I'd have 100,000. And it would go on and on and on. Now this is going up. These are all positive, and they're going up. So on the right side, so we're looking at numbers to the right of this line, it's going to go up to positive infinity. So it'll look roughly like that. These are really rough sketches here, but you get the general picture of what's going on. Okay? And this behaves just like, it's just shifted over 2 spots, but it behaves just like f of x equals 1 over x, except for it's just shifted to the left 2. Okay? We're going to talk about horizontal asymptotes here. There is a horizontal asymptote in this graph as well. We'll talk about that at a later time. But that's also part of this section that we're going over as far as asymptotes. I just wanted to cover the vertical asymptotes today. And we'll do horizontal asymptotes later. Let me give you one that you can kind of do this and figure out what the behavior is on your own. Let's do f of x equals, let's do this. Let's do 2 over x minus 3. Okay, try this one on your own. Figure out what the behavior is. So from the left and the right, wherever the asymptote is, you know, figure out, is it going up to infinity? Is it going down to infinity? What's going on there? All right, and we'll go over that in class.